Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel Everyday Carry for Everyday People. My name's Riaz, I'm the host of this channel here. So yesterday I put out a video saying that today, Saturday the 11th of July 2020, I'd be discussing some of the precautions that we can take, particularly with our children going back to school, and obviously younger grades and different grades being phased back into school. Currently I am an English teacher and I teach grade 1 and grade 2. I am not based in South Africa. I'm based in a country that was quote unquote the source or the origin of COVID-19 or coronavirus, depending on what you want to call it. And as an educator in this particular country, I've seen some of the steps that government, teachers, schooling body, students and parents have taken with regards to, getting back to school. Schools here reopened on the 18th of May for grade 1 and grade 2s. So it's been about 7 weeks. That being said, there are a few things that I've picked up on here that made the transition back into school a little bit easier. So government in South Africa has done what they need to do in order to get students back to school. Schools, whether it be school principals, headmasters, headmistresses, the student governing body, whatever it is, they've done what they can to ensure a smooth transition back into academic life for our learners. So here are a few things that I picked up on, obviously, being an English or a grade 1 and grade 2 English teacher here. First and most important thing that I would suggest every parent does before sending their children back to school is take some time, sit down with your kids, explain to them exactly what is happening in terms of this whole COVID-19 situation. It's extremely contagious. It's extremely, infectious. So developing a mindset, and this ties into the concept of EDC or everyday carry. The mindset is something that's very important. Sit down with your kids, speak to them, let them know exactly what's happening, particularly with younger learners, grade 1s, grade 2s, grade 3s, even grade 4s. It's something new. Obviously in South Africa we are very emotional people. We like to greet one another, shake hands, concepts like social distancing, even when they can be implemented, are something that South Africans are not really good with. We're friendly people, we engage with one another. So sit your kids down and explain to them exactly what's happening. Another thing that I would seriously recommend to parents before sending your kids back to school is a little bit of training. And by training, what I mean is, encouraging them and monitoring them at least for a period of 24 to 48 hours. Making sure that they wash their hands thoroughly. Medical organizations have said it's always a good idea to wash your hands for no less than 30 seconds. Hand sanitizers are great, however, they're not always practical or possible. So with regards to that, there's soap and water. Having your kids wash their hands with soap and water. The best way to do this here is to wash the hands, then take the bar of soap. I recommend Sunlight. It's It's just something that I use for myself, my wife, and my kid. And obviously have them lather their hands down. It's always a good idea to wash and lather up to and including the wrist. Using the palm of your hand, getting it underneath the fingernails on both sides. And then obviously making sure that you rinse up to and including the wrist, getting anything that might be stuck under the fingernails out from under it. These are good practices in mitigating, and I must state, we are only mitigating risk here. There are no guarantees, because there are no vaccines or cures or treatments or anything like that right now. So the best that we can hope to do is educate our kids, educate our friends, family members, so that we can mitigate the risk of infection. The second thing that I recommend strongly, and it was implemented in schools throughout this country here, is that both students and teachers wear masks. Surgical masks are obviously better. N95 masks are superior in a lot of ways. That being said, there's a global shortage of masks. So use what you have. Having something is obviously better than having nothing at all. Another thing that I would encourage parents to teach their children before going back. We are in the winter months in South Africa. Obviously, people are going to catch the flu. Kids are most susceptible to it. I love my daughter, I love my niece, but kids generally tend to be a much higher factor when it comes to transmitting colds, flus, diseases, these type of things. So I would recommend teaching your kids to cough into their arm if they are going to cough and they don't have a mask on. The best way to do that there is to cough within between the bicep and the forearm. So when coughing, covering the nose and the mouth. Wearing a mask is extremely important, obviously, because there's a shortage of disposable masks and surgical masks. People have used homemade masks. Good idea. Just make sure that when you wash them, wash it with soap and warm water. Avoid tumble drying, avoid ironing. Once it's washed, thoroughly rinse it out, hang it up on the line to dry. Best way to do it. When taking your kids back to school, as a parent myself, it's completely stressful. I was watching a video on Facebook by a woman in the Western Cape on Monday, and you could see that this mother was completely devastated, having to send her child back to school. As parents, this is where our everyday carry or EDC mindset comes into play yet again. We're all scared. We all have fears. The best way to deal with it is to try and control those fears so that we don't project those fears onto our children. Contrary to popular belief, children are highly susceptible to our emotions. So keeping that in check is always a very, very good idea. Another important thing is obviously, with regards to social distancing. In some schools, particularly inner city schools, it's just not practical. So the practical things that we can do are teaching our kids not to share things like lunch, teaching them not to share stationery. It's difficult. It goes against the grain of what I've been taught, we've been taught, but it's it's a necessary evil during these trying circumstances. So that's something that I encourage you to, pass on to your children. Important. When your kids get home from school, guys, I can't stress this enough. Make sure that they take their shoes off and leave them outside the house. There's not much known with regards to this particular virus, so taking precautions are extremely important. Making sure that when our kids get home, going straight to the bathroom, washing those hands. Warm water and soap does the trick. If you do have access to hand sanitizer, I'm not knocking it. I completely encourage it. Obviously, another thing that I recommend, and I have it in my daughter's bag all the time, are hand wipes. Hand wipes, baby wipes, whatever you can get your hands on. If you're able to get your hands on it, it works. It's a precautionary measure, so utilize it. For parents and for adults in South Africa, look, we are going through our spike now. Anybody who's watched my videos from the beginning knows that I've always said it goes case, cluster, and then an explosion. We are in the explosion phase right now. I encourage everyone watching to adopt a mindset where we are protecting ourselves and protecting our loved ones, our families, our friends, and society as a whole. Guys, there's no need to go out and have a social drink. If you are going to drink at home. I'm not advocating for drinking one way or the other. With regards to adults, make your own decisions, but social distancing is extremely important. Taking this time to spend with your kids, educating them, reassuring them that this too shall pass, and this too shall pass. So just to break it down, some of the things that I recommend highly as an educator to young learners, grade 1 and grade 2 students, as a father, a husband, a brother, a son, an uncle, just a global citizen. Number 1, make sure that you sit down with your kids and calmly and rationally explain to them what's going on, why they are required to wear a mask, why they are required to wash their hands, phasing them in and preparing them for when all students are phased back into school. Point number 2, making sure that you, your family members, your friends, and most importantly your kids have a mask. If you can get surgical N95, that's great. If not, use what you have. Just make sure that when you get home, you wash it, warm water and soap, hang it out to dry. Point number 3, encouraging our kids to wash their hands with warm water and soap, as I said before, up to the wrist, using the palm with the lather on it, getting under the fingernails, and then obviously rinsing the lather off. 30 seconds is highly recommended as the bare minimum. And then obviously, training your kids to cough into their arm, making sure that they have a tissue, where all possible social distancing in school and within the classroom. sitting down and explaining to them why it's not a good idea for them to be sharing things like stationery. These are other things that I've seen work at the school that I teach at, and it's been highly effective and efficient. Guys, please remember, the most important thing is developing a mindset that allows us to prepare in advance for our daily lives. COVID-19 is here. It is in its explosion state, obviously in South Africa. Please take precautions. Please look after yourself. If you find this video helpful and informative, subscribe, give us a like, click on the bell icon. I will be putting out more videos. If you have any comments, any questions, any suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Until then, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the next one.